She told me he was just a friend. I wanted to believe her until I saw the messages. What I discovered that night changed everything. Watch until the end to see how it all unfolded. And if you love shocking real-life betrayals, subscribe now for more. I should have trusted my instincts. Looking back, the signs were all there, small but undeniable. The late-night texts, the sudden need to keep her phone close, the way she would angle the screen away from me when she was typing. At first, I told myself it was nothing. I wanted to believe she was just chatting with a friend, someone she had known for years. But deep down, something felt wrong. And when I finally saw the messages for myself, my entire world collapsed. It started with little things, as it always does. She had always been open with her phone before, leaving it on the table, never caring if I glanced at it while we sat together. But recently, things had changed. She would turn it face down whenever she got a notification. If I so much as looked in its direction, she'd pick it up quickly, acting as if she was just checking the time. At first, I ignored it. Maybe she was just talking to a coworker, planning something for a friend's birthday, nothing serious. But the more I paid attention, the more I saw the shift. Then came the nights when she would stay up late, lying beside me in bed, the soft glow of her phone screen illuminating her face. She would type quickly, then smile to herself, shaking her head slightly as if she were amused. "Who's that?" I asked casually one night, turning toward her. She locked her phone instantly, placing it down. "Oh, just a friend," she said, her tone dismissive. "We're just joking around." Her words should have been enough. They would have been months ago, but something in her voice felt off, forced, too casual, like she had rehearsed the answer. I didn't press. Not yet. Over the next few days, I started noticing more things. When I entered the room, she would quickly switch apps, pretending she had been scrolling through something else. If I sat too close to her, she'd shift slightly, creating more space between us while keeping her phone angled away. Still, I didn't say anything. I wanted to believe I was overthinking, that I was just being paranoid. But the doubt had already taken root. And then, one night, I got my answer. She had fallen asleep early, her phone resting on the nightstand. Normally, she kept it close, but tonight, for whatever reason, she had left it within reach. I stared at it for a long time, my heart pounding. I wasn't the kind of guy to check my partner's phone. I had never done it before, never wanted to be that person who invaded someone's privacy. But this wasn't about being nosy. This was about the feeling in my gut that wouldn't go away, the one that whispered to me that something was wrong. So I picked it up. Her screen lit up in my hand, and almost immediately, a notification popped up. A new message. "I can't wait to see you again. Last night was amazing." My blood ran cold. I stared at the words, rereading them over and over, as if they would somehow change, as if I had misunderstood. But no, the message was real, and it confirmed everything I had been too afraid to admit. My hands felt numb as I unlocked her phone, scrolling to the conversation. And that's when I saw everything. The messages stretched back for weeks, maybe even longer. Flirty exchanges, late-night confessions, inside jokes that I knew nothing about. There was no denying what I was looking at. This wasn't just a friend. And now I had to decide what to do next. My fingers tightened around the phone as I scrolled through the endless stream of messages. It wasn't just flirting. It wasn't just harmless conversation. It was full of hidden meanings, late-night confessions, and worst of all, plans. Plans to meet up. Plans that had already happened. My heart pounded harder with each message I read. "Last night was perfect. I can't stop thinking about it. You make me feel so alive. I don't know what I'd do without you. I wish I could see you tonight, but I have to play the role of a good girlfriend." That last one made my stomach twist. Play the role. That's all I was to her now. A role to maintain while she snuck around behind my back. My breathing felt heavy, my pulse a dull roar in my ears. I had suspected, but I hadn't wanted to believe it. I wanted to be wrong. But the proof was right there, in front of me, undeniable. I checked the timestamps. Some of these messages had been sent when we were together, sitting on the couch, watching a movie, lying in bed at night. She had been texting him while she was with me. She had smiled at me while typing those words to someone else. Rage burned through me, but I forced myself to stay still. Getting angry wouldn't change what had already happened. I needed to think. I needed to be smart. I opened the chat further, scrolling up to the beginning of their conversation. Weeks, months. The further back I went, the more I saw. It had started small, just friendly banter, jokes, casual check-ins. But then, somewhere along the way, the tone had shifted. Compliments, inside jokes that I had never heard before. Then late-night texts. "I wish you were here," sent while I was sleeping beside her. My grip on the phone tightened. The betrayal wasn't just physical. It was emotional. She had given a part of herself to him that was supposed to be mine. And all this time, she had looked me in the eyes, kissed me, held my hand, told me she loved me, as if nothing was wrong. I checked their shared photos, my jaw clenching as I saw the selfies, the secret moments they had captured together. Her smiling, leaning into him with his arm around her. And then the worst one, a picture of them in what was unmistakably a hotel room, taken just a few nights ago. The caption, "Finally." I felt sick. Everything inside me screamed to wake her up right now, to shake her out of her peaceful sleep and demand answers, to show her the messages, the photos, and watch her face as she realized she had been caught. But no, that would be too easy. She had been lying to me for months, letting me live in ignorance while she built a secret life behind my back. If I confronted her now, she would lie again. She would twist the truth, make excuses, maybe even try to blame me. I wasn't going to give her that chance. I needed a plan, a way to turn this betrayal back on her. She thought she had been so careful. She thought I would never find out. But she had underestimated me. I looked down at the phone in my hands one last time before setting it back exactly where she had left it. Then I took a deep breath, calming the storm of emotions raging inside me. This wasn't over. Not by a long shot. I didn't sleep that night. Couldn't. The weight of the betrayal pressed down on me like a crushing force. But beneath the pain, there was something sharper. Cold, calculated focus. I wasn't going to let her get away with this. I wasn't going to be another fool who simply walked away, letting her rewrite the story to make herself the victim. No, I was going to make sure she felt every ounce of the humiliation she had tried to hide from me. Lying beside her in bed, I could hear the soft rhythm of her breathing, peaceful, completely unaware of what was coming. It made me sick. How could she sleep so soundly, knowing what she had done? Knowing that just a few nights ago, she had been with him? That she had kissed me with the same lips that had whispered secrets to someone else? I forced myself to stay calm, my mind racing through every possible scenario. Confronting her now would do nothing. She'd deny it, she'd cry, she'd beg. Maybe even try to gaslight me into believing I had misunderstood. No, I needed something undeniable. A way to make sure she couldn't escape the consequences of her actions. By the time the first rays of morning light crept through the window, I had my plan. I got up quietly, careful not to wake her, and went to the kitchen. I made coffee like it was just another normal day, pretending that everything was fine. When she finally came downstairs, she stretched, smiling at me like nothing had changed. "Morning," she said, yawning. "You're up early." I turned, handing her a cup of coffee. "Yeah, couldn't sleep. Work stuff on my mind." She nodded, taking a sip. "You always overthink things," she teased, leaning against the counter. "You should just relax." Relax. If only she knew what was really on my mind. I played along, acting like the loving boyfriend she believed I still was. I kissed her goodbye before she left for work, told her I'd see her later. But as soon as she was out the door, I got to work. First, I backed up everything. Screenshots of her messages, the photos she had sent, the conversations where they had made plans to meet up. I saved it all. Then I went a step further. I sent copies to a secure folder, just in case she somehow managed to get into my phone and try to delete the evidence. Then I started putting the second part of my plan into motion. She had been careful but not careful enough. She thought her secret was hidden, but people always leave traces. I dug through our shared accounts, our location history, even our call logs. And the more I looked, the more I found. It wasn't just a one-time thing. It had been going on for months. I found receipts for places she had never told me about. Restaurants, hotels, even plane tickets. I found gaps in her stories, little inconsistencies that now made perfect sense. She hadn't just been sneaking around. She had been building a whole other life behind my back. And the best part? She had no idea that I knew. That evening, I acted like nothing was wrong. I texted her, asking if she wanted to grab dinner. She agreed without hesitation. Another lie, another act. I let her think everything was normal. But the next time she walked into our home, she wouldn't be walking into the same relationship she thought she had. She'd be walking straight into the trap I had set for her. And there would be no way out. That evening, she walked through the front door, smiling like nothing had changed. Like she hadn't spent the past few months sneaking around behind my back, lying to my face, and sending messages to someone else while pretending to love me. She had no idea that every step she took inside was leading her deeper into a trap she couldn't escape. I sat on the couch, casually scrolling through my phone, pretending to be lost in something meaningless. I didn't look up right away when she entered, letting the silence settle between us for a moment. "Hey, babe," she said, setting her bag down on the table. "Dinner smells amazing." I had made her favorite meal, not because I wanted to win her over, but because I wanted her to feel safe. I wanted her to believe everything was fine, to let her guard down completely before I flipped her world upside down. "You deserve it," I said smoothly, finally meeting her gaze. "Long day," she sighed, stretching her arms. "Ugh, yeah, so much going on at work." I nodded, pretending to believe her. "Well, at least now you can relax." She smiled, walking over to kiss me. I let her press her lips to mine, let her pretend like everything was normal. But inside, I felt nothing. I pulled away, standing up. "Before we eat, I need to show you something." She tilted her head. "What is it?" I grabbed the remote and turned on the TV. The screen lit up, but instead of Netflix or a movie, a folder popped open. A slideshow began playing. Screenshots, messages, photos, every single piece of evidence I had gathered. Her body went rigid, her breath catching in her throat. The color drained from her face as the realization hit her all at once. I turned to her, my expression unreadable. "You said he was just a friend." Silence. Her lips parted slightly like she wanted to say something, but no words came out. She was completely frozen, trapped in the moment, unable to spin another lie fast enough. I crossed my arms, watching her reaction. "Go ahead," I said. "Explain this." She blinked rapidly, her hands trembling. It's not what it looks like." A bitter laugh escaped me. "Not what it looks like?" I gestured to the screen. "So you didn't send these messages? You didn't meet him? You didn't sneak around behind my back?" She swallowed hard, glancing away. "I was going to tell you." I cut her off. "When? Before or after you checked into a hotel with him?" Her breath hitched. She looked around the room as if searching for an escape, as if hoping this was all some horrible nightmare she could wake up from. But it wasn't. Tears welled in her eyes. "Please," she whispered. "Let's just talk about this." I shook my head. "I'm done talking." I reached into my pocket and pulled out a small box. The engagement ring I had given her when I thought she was the love of my life. I stared at it for a second, then tossed it onto the table in front of her. Her eyes widened, her breath coming in shallow gasps. No, please don't do this." I stepped back, my voice calm, controlled. "You did this, not me." A knock sounded at the door, right on time. She flinched, her eyes darting toward the sound. "Who is that?" she whispered. I smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "Why don't you open the door and find out?" She hesitated, then slowly walked over and pulled it open. Standing there was him, the man she had thrown everything away for. Her mouth fell open, and for a moment, all three of us stood in silence. I turned to him, my voice sharp. "She said you were just a friend. Guess that was a lie too." "Huh." He shifted uncomfortably, avoiding my gaze. He looked as panicked as she did. I exhaled slowly, then looked back at her. I figured you two would want some time to talk. She turned back to me, panic in her eyes. No, please don't do this, she begged. But I was already walking past her, past him, out the door. I didn't need to hear her excuses. I didn't need her apologies. I had seen the truth, and now she had to live with it.